They say games are played on the field and not on paper, and that's a good thing. Because if this one were played on paper, it might get ugly, but you never know what's going to happen. Welcome, everyone, to Memorial Stadium in Bloomington, Indiana, home of the Indiana Hoosiers. As we'll see a squad from Conference USA, the Kennesaw State Owls, taking on the 20th ranked team in the land, the Indiana Hoosiers. For EA Sports College Football, Reese Davis with you alongside David Pollack and Jesse Palmer. Time to get this game started. Kennesaw State ready to kick it off and get this game going. On the move from inside is 5. Not a lot of space to be found. Good hustle by the coverage team, and they stop him at the 21. So Indiana's offense makes its way onto the field to open this game. And last week, you want to talk about a guy using every tool in the bag from the running back position. David, this guy did it.
He was a monster. And I think when you turned on the tape this week, you saw it, man. So many different ways he can hurt you, and he can be a focal point of this offense. The defense, they know well and good of what happened last week. And their first objective this week, Palmer, is to stop that dude.
Yeah, they know the entire offense goes through him. All week long, they've been stressing, tackling, staying in your gaps, waiting at the point of attack, getting as many hats to the football as humanly possible because you can't shut this guy down. You can only hope to contain him.
Breaks into the open. He gets those chains moving, gets it out to the 42-yard line. And the Hoosiers have it with a 1st and 10. Looking for space. It's Hemby fighting off the defender. And he'll find enough running room to get it just short of midfield at the 49. Looking to throw, it's Mendoza. Fires to the big fella. Dragged down at the 46 after a pickup of 5 and the 1st down. The Hoosiers are on the move. Off the play fake on 1st down. Complete in the middle. Gets him down at the 30 after a 15-yard pickup. They are threatening, and they have a 1st down. Off the bootleg, wants to toss it. Finds his man. It's Williams. Dragged down, but they'll move the sticks for a 1st down. And the Hoosiers are threatening in the red zone. From the gun, they'll try to impose their will. How about that run as he drives it all the way down to the 13-yard line? Going to work in the red zone, they can't pick up the 1st down without getting it into the end zone. Nice move there. The tackle is made, but he's got it 1st and goal from the 6. The Hoosiers pounded the rock to move the sticks, now back to work. Fires to the tight end. That completion has them right on the doorstep. They'll mark it at the 1. Looking for just 1 more yard. It's 2nd and goal. Back to pass. Looking to the end zone. Touchdown, Indiana! Fitted in the window for the score.
And that is exactly what you love to see as a head coach, watching your offense take the field, 1st drive of the game, and you're methodical. And you take what the defense gives you. You make good decisions. You don't have negative plays. You don't have missed assignments. That shows your head coach that you are locked in and ready to go.
They get set for the point after as we have the 1st score of the game. And with the extra point, they get the 1st 7 of the game. So it's an 80-yard drive. They're set to kick it off. You think this crowd's going to get loud when their defense comes on the field? He'll start the return inside his 5. Nice job executing all of the assignments as they put a stop to that return at the 22. The Owls offense has the ball for the 1st time. They'll run the option. The pitch. got the first down and more. They'll finally make the tackle, but that option was executed to perfection. Coming out on first down with the play fake. Defense grabs the football, and there he goes. He's into the open down the middle. Touchdown, Hoosiers! The defense putting points on the board.
You practice these moments as a defense, but you never know when they're going to come to fruition. But how about it? The scoop, the ball's on the turf. They scoop it up. They take it to the house. The defense takes care of business and said, offense, we don't need you. We'll put points on the board.
They'll try to add another to their lead. And the extra point makes it 14-0. The scoop and score. What a lift it can give to the defense. Not content to get the ball. They wanted to do something with it, and they did. From inside the 10, here he comes. Nice job executing all of the assignments as they put a stop to that return at the 22. Guys, we'll get another look at this Kennesaw State offense. To say this has been a slow start is a bit of an understatement, and they really need to get it going here, Jesse.
That's right. The opponent, they're firing on all cylinders right out of the gate. Offensively, for this unit, they've been slow and struggling. They need an explosive play to wake themselves up.
Yeah, and it's just the first quarter, so it's not the end of the world. You've seen slow starts, but you got to continue to pick and pick and pick until you find that play or that scheme that you can use against this defense.
Catch in the middle, it's Moss. Worked his way out to the 28-yard line, but needed a little bit more yardage. Fourth down is coming. Hunt is on its way. They'll put that return to a stop at the 33, but the offense set up in pretty good field position. Snags it quickly on the left. And he was fortunate not to lose yardage on that play, able to wedge it back to the line of scrimmage. Defense didn't maintain its discipline there, and they get into the neutral zone. It'll cost them 5 yards.
Encroachment defense.
The encroachment penalty on the D gives the offense a free 5 yards. Caught in the backfield, it's Cooper. And they pick up just a few on that completion. And the Hoosiers come to the line on 3rd and short, looking to keep this drive moving. Makes the catch, it's Williams. And they'll move the chains and get it to the 47-yard line. Offense in a bunch formation. They'll run it from the gun. You'll take this every time. 5 yards on the first down play. Picked up some yardage on the ground. Now here comes second down. Looking for a man. It's Mendoza. Quickly to the tight end. He's knocked out of bounds. They'll mark it at the 44. The Hoosiers come to the line on 3rd down, trying to keep this drive alive. Flushed out of the pocket. On the move at the 30. Offenses gain momentum with 3rd down conversions like that. They've got it at the 25. Quarterback on the keeper. They'll knock him down for a loss of a couple. And the Hoosiers trying to find their way forward after the big loss on the last play. We reached the end of the period. It's Indiana on top. And they jumped out to that edge early. As we wrap up the first, let's take a quick look at our game stats. Going to need to step up to make sure this one doesn't get out of hand as the second quarter is about to get underway. First play of the period will be a second down. The give to the back. That is a big win for this defense as they were right there as soon as he got the ball. And they've converted their first 2 third down opportunities, but a 3rd and long is a different animal. Oh, they're after him. And the defense gets home and makes a play at the 37-yard line.
And he gets home again, continuing his production. Last week, 2 sacks. This week, already a sack in the first half. This guy has been on a sack terror.
And on 4th down, here comes the field goal unit. This is going to have to be unleashed from 54 yards out. It's good. He's going to hit a string right in the middle of the uprights there. And they'll push that lead out a little further.
And not to be the old guys in the booth, but we are the old guys in the booth. Man, 50-yard field goals used to be really, really hard. Kickers nowadays, man, they are making it look so much easier, and he does right there.
He'll bring it back from inside his 5. He was looking for more running room, but none to be found as he stopped at the 23. Guys, we're about to see this Kennesaw State offense go back to work. They'll give it to the back. Trailing now by 17, David. This is an opportunity that they need to answer.
And down by 17, it's not panic mode yet. Like, I know we just gave up some points and our defense hasn't played great. I think this offense can still be who they are and stay consistent.
No doubt, lots of football to go, but you do get the feeling this is the time of game where, you know, it could get bad. If you don't score and all of a sudden they get the ball back, they take it down the field and put some points up, this thing might be over. So absolutely, this quarterback, he wants to drive this offense down the field and at least put something on the board.
Coming through with that 3rd down conversion, and they'll mark it at the 43. Kennesaw State right back to work.
And it's frustrating as a defense when you give up that 1st down and you give up that pass play. But here we go with this offense. They're right back on the ball. You got to flush that. You got to get lined up, and you got to communicate.
And he's able to shed 1 tackle and pick up pretty good yardage. Kept it on the ground on 1st down. Now back to the line. Gives it on the option. Can't get him to the ground. And he fights his way forward, gets away from 1, but not much doing on that one. They'll try to pick it up on the ground. And boy, is he close to that 1st down, maybe just a couple of inches short. Looking for a push on 4th down. And with that, the chain gang will get busy. 1st down, Kennesaw State. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. And this one will be stopped for no gain. They've got a solid drive working, but now looking at 2nd and 11. Now, this Hoosier defense had a complete 180. They went from 100. And the ball comes out. What a disastrous play. Offense scoops it up and still going.
Doesn't it always seem like that ball is on the ground for like 30 seconds? You got 17 guys running at it, slow motion. Like, I got to get the football. Offense, very lucky to get that football back.
Now a lot of work to do to move the chains, keep this drive alive after that earlier sack. Looking for room, it's Bennett. He won't get there. It'll bring up 4th down. Kennesaw State will have to punt this one away. Blocked those heels at the 10 and didn't go backwards. He makes the fair catch there. Indiana has the ball back, and the Hoosier offense comes out ready to go. They'll leave it with him. Powers through the defender. Got enough for the 1st. They finally get him stopped, and this veteran junior running back comes up with a nice play. Out of the gun, the running back has it. He's going to lose a yard on that one. So now it's 2nd and long.
2nd down.
Back to throw, it's Mendoza. And here comes the heat, and they get home, and they get him at the 21.
Man, that's exactly what this defense needs. They found themselves now in a hole. They're trailing. Got to get pressure on this QB. Can't give him time to get comfortable. They get to him, get the big sack. Maybe this gets them back in the football game.
Now a lot of work to do to move the chains, keep this drive alive after that earlier sack. On 3rd and long, he'll have to turn it loose deep. Fires to the big fella. And a good job of coverage by that defense, just a short pickup. The Hoosiers will line up to punt it away. This will be their first punt of the afternoon. Not going to risk a return here. Calls for the fair catch and makes it just around the 30-yard line. Guys, we'll get another look at this Kennesaw State offense. Got enough for the first. And he's brought down after a nice gain. They gobbled up a ton of yardage to open this drive, and now in business near midfield at the 49. He's going to lose a yard on that one. After losing a couple on that last play, here's 2nd and 12. Looking to fire. Catch in the middle, it's Rodgers. And he runs through one tackle and picks up a few. How aggressive might this play call be on 3rd and short from the 46? Breaks the tackle. Stopped in the backfield. He's going to lose 3 yards on the play. Whistle blows. We are at the 2-minute timeout. And man, oh man, could these guys use a score to cut into this lead. They booted away on 4th down. Able to keep them from getting a return, and the ball goes out of bounds. They're going to mark it right around the 20. Plenty of time to work, not any time to waste as they take over here in the final 2 minutes of the half. Grabbed in the backfield, it's Hemby. Got the completion, but nowhere to go as that defense reacted quickly. Looking for a gap, it's Hemby. And he never had a chance, just stopped cold as soon as he got it. We've got a timeout here late in the first half, and they'll try to get more points on the board before the break. On 3rd and long, he'll need to push it downfield. He's got an open man. They'll get the first down. It's spotted on the 49.
It feels like everything this play caller has called has worked so far in this first half for the offense. They generated a really nice lead, lighting up the scoreboard, and they're staying aggressive. They're throwing the football. They're dictating everything right now to the defense.
Fires it beautifully in on the crosser. The offense will have to use its first timeout of the half. And the Hoosiers can play this second down a lot of ways with just a few yards to go. Pulls it in, it's Williams. And a good job in coverage there as they stop it after just a few. Let's see what they do here on 3rd and short from the 41. He's out of bounds at the 38-yard line. The Hoosiers come to the line with a new set of downs. Back to pass, it's Mendoza. Got the quick pass. Quick timeout call by the offense after the play.
Nice job there. Good timing between the QB and the wide receiver executing that out route.
Looking downfield, and time is running short. Finds his target down the middle. There to make the tackle, but the big throw is good enough to give them a first down. The offense calls timeout, and they won't have any more left this half. Wants to go up top on first down. Got it in the middle, it's Williams. Touchdown, Indiana! And they take it in for 6 more points.
And we are officially in blowout mode. This offense has been up and down the field. We've seen so many explosive plays, and they score again before going in at halftime, guys. I'm hoping we can have a running clock here in the second half.
Lining up to tack one more onto that lead. And he tacks on the extra point. So it's an 80-yard drive, and they close the deal with a 16-yard throw for the touchdown.
24, Kennesaw State, 0.
And he takes this from inside the 5. Nice job by the kickoff team. Everybody stayed in their lanes, and they'll stop him at the 16. Offense has enough time to get off a play before we head to the half. Leaves it with the running back. That may not look like a huge run, but they'll take it as it gets them up to the 24. We've played 2 quarters here. Time to go to Kevin Connors in our halftime update.
Guys, don't tell me it's a basketball town when we've had a first half like that there in Bloomington. And there's no more fitting place to begin than with this stud receiver and how he's dominated the first half. Some guys have the ability to elude and evade. This young man is a true three-level threat. Short passes, the intermediate game, and then the deep ball. He is a problem, and I don't think this defense has the solution. With that said, let's send it back to the guys at Memorial Stadium.
We're just about ready to start the second half. On the run from inside his own 5. And they'll get him on the ground as the offense comes out to start the next drive. Guys, we're about to see this Kennesaw State offense go back to work. They've got a long road ahead of them if they want to get back into this game, but they have to get to work on this drive. Stuck with a running game on first down, now here they come again. Out of the shotgun, they go to the ground. There he goes. Moves it out to the 34-yard line, a nice 15-yard gain on that one. They're going to ride this running back. And there was nowhere to go, just stopped in his tracks in the backfield. Last play was a near disaster, now dealing with 2nd and 13. From the gun, running back on the move. And maybe he'll get back to the line of scrimmage, but no more than that. And this offense is desperate to keep this drive alive, trailing by multiple possessions, and it's getting late. Here's a hit. And the defense makes a play, and they get the quarterback down at the 26.
Well, they're trailing by a lot of points right now, and the problem is there's usually only one way to get back into it, and that means throwing the ball, and the defense knows it. And that's why they're pinning their ears back. They're dialing up blitzes. Guys are just rushing upfield, and they're finding it easier to get to the quarterback. They've got a few sacks already in this game. It's going to be even easier at this point because this offense has just dug themselves into such a big hole.
They kick it away on 4th down. Fields the punt and tries to find an opening. The coverage team was down there to corral him. They made the stop, and they'll mark it at the 39. Indiana sends the offense onto the field. They reeled off a long touchdown drive the last time they had a much better field position this time around.
Well, this defense is not going to be patient with this quarterback. They know that they have to affect him, and they have to dictate to him. So that time, they send the blitz. They're not even giving him an opportunity to sit back there and peruse the field. They flush him out. They're able to rally to him, get him down to the ground. I like the aggressive nature of the defense here.
Here comes the offense on 1st and 10 from the 47. They'll ride the hot hand. Shakes off the defender. Across the 25, he's got room. Perhaps a touchdown-saving tackle at the 17.
This shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. If you've got the lead in the 3rd quarter and you want to keep it, you got to bleed the clock. Best way to do that, run the football. And you're now seeing this offense call these run plays back to back. They are trying to be physical, and they're trying to stay on the field.
Defense is there to make the stop, but he's got the first down, and they'll have it 1st and goal at the 6. Looking for a man. It's Mendoza. Going to try to pop one on the screen. Touchdown, Hoosiers! And they add 6 more to the board with that trip to the house.
After that amazing performance in Week 1, this offense wasn't content. They felt like they left some plays out on the field, even though they were able to get that win. I feel like they've taken another step. They've raised their intensity level. They've raised their execution. This team is going to be a contender this year. You can just feel it.
Ready to try the point after.
For the extra point.
And the extra point will tack another one onto this lead. Let's go to the studio now and check in with Kevin Connors. Kevin, what do you got?
All right, guys, got a final score on one of the more intriguing games this week. East Carolina looked dynamic today in a strong victory there inside Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium. They did the little things well, they did the big things well, and well, that's how you win games. All that speculation all week, and now we know But something tells me, fellas, we haven't heard the last of either of these teams.
And Kevin Connors keeping an eye on everything all over the country. Sounds like they had a good one there. On the option. This defensive front just ran free in the backfield. He'll lose 3. Wow, this offense is just stuck in the mud. They've already punted 4 times, and it's 3rd down now. He's going to come up about 5 yards short of the line to gain. Kennesaw State will have to punt this one away. They may have to pay him overtime. He's punting for the 5th time today. Looking everywhere for room to run, but really good coverage, and he'll step out of bounds. Indiana has the ball back, and the Hoosier offense comes out ready to go. Gonna run it. It's Hemby. Stop behind the line. He'll lose a yard. Didn't get much done on that first play of the drive. It's 2nd and 11. Looking downfield, it's Mendoza. Makes the catch. And the defense settled in to stop that one for a short gain. It'll be 3rd and long. From the gun, wants to pass. Finds his tight end. And they make the tackle, but the official has tossed his flag. That penalty cost them a 3rd down conversion, and now they'll have to try it from a little farther away. On 3rd and long, he's going to have to turn one loose downfield. Spins away from the defense. They make the tackle at the 36. Let's see if they bring out the punt team. And the Hoosiers will send out the punt unit. This will be the 2nd time they've had to kick it away. Fair catch is made inside his own 20 at the 17-yard line. They'll move the wide receiver. From the gun, leaves it on the inside with the back. And he brought 1 tackle on the way to a solid pickup there. They can really be aggressive after that last play. It's 2nd and 3. A designed run for the quarterback. He's brought down, but it'll be enough for a 1st down. They moved the chains on the ground last time. Let's see if they try to hit him up top. Leaves it with the back. Cross the 30 out to the 33 and gains 4 on the play. Halfway there on 1st down, it's 2nd and 5. Off play action. Lofts one high and deep. And it's incomplete, going for the massive explosive play instead. They're looking at a 3rd down. Williams will pass. Fires to the wideout. Finds a man by himself. Oh, he's got some space. He gets it inside the 30 and out of bounds at the 29, and they are rolling. This Kennesaw State offense is on the move. He'll do it himself. And a good, solid pickup before the defense cuts him down. Now on 2nd down. Clock strikes 0 here in the quarter, and Indiana is on top. And it hasn't been much of a contest as we take a look at the overwhelming game stats through 3. So will the beatdown continue, or is this a comeback for the ages in store? We'll see as we start the 4th. So the final period starts with a 2nd down play. Wide receiver comes in motion. Try to get the edge with a quick touch pass. Some hard running there, but just too many defenders as he stopped for a loss. Ball's at the 25. They're in field goal range, but they'd love to convert this 3rd and short. Fights off a defender. He gets it oh so close to the 1st down marker, but I think he's going to be a touch short. Man down on the play as the officials take a break to let him be checked out. Down by multiple possessions, you can't come up empty on this drive. They'll go for it on 4th down. Motion from the back. They knock him down, but he's got enough to get it across the line and pick up the 1st down. Play number 9 on this drive. Rides the back and leaves it. He's tackled right at the 10-yard line, and they're trying to cash in on this drive. Going to work on second down in the red zone. Is still some ground to cover to pick up that first down. He'll be hauled down just inside the 10 at the 9 as they're trying to turn this into a score. Kennesaw State has a chance now on first and goal. They'll try to get it in with the run. That is a big win for this defense as they were right there as soon as he got the ball. Williams looking for a man. Under fire. Blasted as he lets it go. He's down at the 1, and they almost had the touchdown pass on that one. Powers forward. Absolutely nowhere to go as this defense makes a third down stop.
Man, if I'm quarterback right now, after this long of a drive down this close, I'm going for a touchdown here, Pollock.
And I get that, but I've worn this defense out, man. I'm going to go for the touchdown right here. And if I miss, they got to go the whole length of the field to score a touchdown.
Calls his own number. He is stopped short, and they'll turn it over on downs. Just a crushing blow at this point in the game. To the ground with the back. Turning it on. Nice pickup on the ground there. They'll move the sticks with the first down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Right back to the well. And he never had a chance. Just stopped cold as soon as he got it. The Hoosiers have put themselves in dire straits after that last play. It's 2nd and a mile. Got enough for the first down. Slips one guy, and now he's loose. And he gets it to the 45-yard line, and that'll be a first down.
Well, obviously the offense went 3 and out on their last drive. They're having a little bit more success here. That was a nice run, and I think that's the key, guys. If they're able to run the football, they're going to be able to stay on the field. And I think that's something you want to think more about if you're the play caller on offense.
Really nice pickup on that one as they get it to the 36. It'll be first down. Pulls it and fires to the left. And the defense holds firm. No pickup at all on that play. Wilson will throw. A strike downfield. They finally get to him. But what a play there to pick up the first down.
Man, this just starts to hurt your pride, right? You're down by several scores. It's in the 4th quarter, and they keep making big plays. This is something where you just got to buck up. You got to do something about it. You got to find something down deep and go make a play so you can get the ball back and maybe get back in this game.
Defense rose up deep in its own end on that last play. Now a 2nd and long coming. Trying play action. Rushes on him. Touchdown, Indiana! And they take it in for 6 more points.
Man, this has been a complete performance. The defense has been lights out, and the offense, obviously, just continues to pour it on. This is what you call having a great day. Putting it all together, offense, defense, complementary football.
They'll try to add another to their lead. And they add the extra point to finish the drive. Kickoff unit on the field, and this defense will be called on to protect this lead.
Kennesaw State, 0.
Here's the return from inside his 10. He was looking for some running room, but not much to be found as he stopped at the 18. Guys, we'll get another look at this Kennesaw State offense. Running back searching for a hole. And there was nowhere to go, just stopped in his tracks in the backfield. Back to pass on second down. Caught in the backfield, it's Belcher.
Holding.
We'll repeat the previous down, but this time the offense has 10 more yards it has to cover. Now on the option. He'll pull it on the read. Follows that surge up front. He's got 5 out to the 13. This defense has kept them backed up. Now one more stop, and they can get off the field on 3rd and long. Fires to the right. And this is going to be incomplete on 3rd. Kennesaw State will have to punt this one away. 3 and out. They got stuck in reverse. They hope the punt can bail them out. This is a spot you see many returners try to take a chance, but not this time. The fair catch just inside the 40. The handoff, keep working on that clock. And he'll find enough running room to get it just short of midfield at the 49. And the Hoosiers with a 2nd and short to keep this drive moving. Gives it on the option. They make the stop, but he'll have enough yardage for a 1st down. Clock stops. We have reached the 2-minute timeout, and this offense just a couple of minutes away from putting one in the win column. He'll keep it himself. And he's almost to that 1st down marker there, saying he's a little bit short. They might want to bring out the sticks and measure, but it looks as if he'll be just short of the 1st down. Looking for space. It's Beebe. Breaks into the open. An explosive play in the running game as he's got the 1st down. The Hoosiers come to the line with a fresh set of downs. To the ground. He's got it again. They are ready this time. Tackle behind the line of scrimmage, and after that big run, the defense answers.
Brings up 2nd down.
Guys, I'm going to tell you, I just never saw this team falling into a 3-game losing streak. They are wounded, reeling, and they've had their confidence shaken.
It's been ugly. There's no other way to spin it. This is very ungood, not good. Got to find some way to get this turned around. Got to make more plays. This is something that's frustrating, but let's not let it define your dynasty, right? Fix it, get it back together, try to pull some wins, try to figure this thing out.
It's frustrating too, David, because this is a team that has a lot of talent. I think part of the problem these last couple of games now has been lack of effort. So if you're on the coaching staff, maybe you're ready to start giving new guys an opportunity to see the field and just see what they can do.
That will put the wrap on things from here. For David Pollack and Jesse Palmer, I'm Reese Davis. You've been watching another presentation of EA Sports College Football.